You just got the news. The project you poured months into was canceled. The business deal you counted on fell through. The promotion went to someone else. That sinking feeling in your stomach, the voice of doubt whispering in your ear. It's paralyzing. What if you had a mental reset button? A proven framework to not just recover from these moments, but to use them as fuel to come back stronger than ever? Stay tuned, because that's exactly what we're building today. Setbacks are an inevitable part of any meaningful journey. Whether you're an entrepreneur, a professional climbing the corporate ladder, or anyone striving for personal growth, you will face obstacles that test your limits. The difference between those who succeed and those who stagnate isn't the absence of failure, but the ability to respond to it. Resilience isn't something you're born with. It's a skill you can develop, a muscle you can train. In this video, we're going to unpack the Resilience Reset, a powerful 5-step framework designed to help you process setbacks constructively, extract valuable lessons, and regain momentum with confidence. We'll move from feeling stuck to feeling empowered. If you're ready to transform your relationship with failure and turn your setbacks into comebacks, do me a quick favor and hit that like button and subscribe to VF Growth Tutorials right now. Let's begin. The acknowledgement phase, facing reality without judgment. The first and often most difficult step in handling a setback is to simply acknowledge it for what it is. Our natural instinct is often to either deny the reality of the situation or to immediately spiral into self-blame. The resilience reset begins with a middle path: radical acceptance. This doesn't mean you have to like what happened. It means you stop fighting reality. Acknowledge the facts of the situation and, just as importantly, acknowledge the emotions that come with it. Frustration, disappointment, anger, sadness, these are all valid responses. The key is to observe them without judgment. Think of a software developer. Let's call her Priya. She spent a year coding an app, but upon launch, it was riddled with bugs and received terrible reviews. Her first instinct was to think, "I'm a terrible programmer. I've wasted a year." This is judgment. The acknowledgement phase would look different. It would be, the launch did not go as planned. The app has significant technical issues. I feel incredibly disappointed and embarrassed. Notice the difference? One is a judgment of self-worth. The other is an observation of facts and feelings. This separation is crucial. It creates the mental space needed to move forward. Suppressing these emotions leads to burnout, while wallowing in them leads to paralysis. By naming the emotion and accepting the situation, you take away its power to control you. This isn't about being passive. It's about establishing a clear, stable foundation from which to launch your comeback. You're telling yourself, okay, this is where we are. Now, what's next? It's the essential pause before the pivot. The analysis phase, extracting the lesson. Once you've acknowledged the reality of the setback, it's time to put on your detective hat. The analysis phase is about shifting from the emotional brain to the logical brain. The goal here is not to assign blame, but to extract wisdom. Every failure is a data point. Your job is to analyze that data objectively. A powerful tool for this is the post-mortem analysis, commonly used in business and engineering. Ask yourself a series of structured questions. First, what exactly happened? Write down the sequence of events factually, without emotional language. Second, what were the contributing factors? Brainstorm everything, big and small. Differentiate between what was within your control and what was outside of it. For Priya, the developer, factors in her control might include her testing protocol or choice of coding language. Factors outside her control could be a competitor launching a similar app a week earlier. This distinction prevents you from taking responsibility for things you couldn't influence. Third, and most importantly, what is the single most important lesson I can learn from this? Don't try to learn 10 things at once. Identify the one core insight that will have the biggest impact moving forward. Perhaps Priya's key lesson is that she needs a more rigorous quality assurance process before any future launch. By focusing on the lesson, you transform the event from a painful memory into a valuable asset. This process reframes the setback not as a dead end, but as an expensive but effective education. It's the critical step that ensures you don't make the same mistake twice. If you're finding these practical steps helpful, make sure you're subscribed with notifications on. We post tutorials like this every week to help you master your mind and achieve your goals. The reframing phase, shifting your narrative. The story you tell yourself about your setback will define its long-term impact. The reframing phase is all about taking control of that narrative. After you've analyzed the situation and extracted the lesson, you can consciously choose the story you build around it. Humans are storytelling creatures. We understand the world through narratives. A negative narrative might sound like, "I failed because I'm not smart enough, and this proves I'll never succeed." This is a fixed mindset narrative. A resilient, growth mindset narrative sounds like, "That approach didn't work, and I learned a crucial lesson about insert lesson here that will make my next attempt much more likely to succeed." See how the focus shifts from a permanent personal flaw to a temporary, specific, and solvable problem. Let's consider another example. Imagine a sales professional, David, who lost a major client. His initial narrative was, "I'm a terrible salesman." Through reframing, he could shift that to, "My relationship management strategy for that key account wasn't proactive enough." This is an opportunity to build a better system for all my major clients. This new frame is empowering. It doesn't ignore the failure, but it contextualizes it as a stepping stone. A powerful technique here is to think about how you would advise a friend in the same situation. You would likely be much more compassionate and constructive. Apply that same logic to yourself. Another reframing technique is to zoom out. Ask yourself, in 5 years, how much will this specific event matter? Often, the setbacks that feel catastrophic in the moment become minor footnotes in the grand scheme of our lives. This perspective shift reduces the emotional weight of the failure and makes it easier to move on. Reframing is your superpower. It's how you turn poison into medicine and a stumbling block into a launch pad. The action phase, the smallest viable step. Analysis and reframing are crucial, but without action, you remain stuck. After a setback, the thought of starting over can be overwhelming, leading to procrastination and paralysis. The key to breaking this inertia is to focus on the smallest viable step. Don't think about climbing the entire mountain. Just focus on taking the first single step. What is the absolute smallest, least intimidating action you can take right now that moves you in the right direction? This action should be so small that it feels almost trivial, making it impossible to fail. For Priya, the app developer, the smallest viable step isn't rebuild the entire app. It might be as simple as write a list of the top 3 critical bugs or email one trusted user for detailed feedback. For David, who lost the client, it's not win back the client or find 3 new clients. It might be update my CRM with notes from the final meeting or spend 15 minutes researching one potential new lead. This approach, inspired by the concept of Kaizen or continuous improvement, has a powerful psychological effect. First, it breaks the cycle of inaction. Momentum is a real force. Once you're moving, even slowly, it's easier to keep moving. Second, each small action you complete provides a tiny hit of dopamine. a small win that builds confidence and combats the feeling of helplessness. Third, it provides immediate feedback, helping you course-correct early and often. Your big, audacious goals are built on a foundation of these tiny, consistent steps. So, after you've acknowledged, analyzed, and reframed, ask yourself, what is my smallest viable step? Then, do it immediately. Don't wait. That single action is the bridge between reflection and recovery. If this framework is resonating with you, show some support by hitting that like button. It really helps the channel and tells us to make more content like this. And of course, subscribe to VF Growth Tutorials if you haven't already. The integration phase, building your resilience muscle. The final phase of the resilience reset is about turning this process into a habit. Resilience isn't a one-time fix, it's a practice. The integration phase ensures that the lessons from your setback become a permanent part of your personal operating system. It's about building the muscle so that you handle the next challenge even better. One of the best tools for integration is journaling. Take time to write down your experience going through the first 4 phases. Document the setback, your analysis, the old versus new narrative, and the small steps you took. This not only solidifies the learning, but also creates a personal playbook you can refer to in the future. Another key practice is intentional reflection. Schedule time, perhaps monthly or quarterly, to review any recent challenges. Ask yourself, how did I respond? Did I use the reset framework? What could I do better next time? This makes self-improvement a conscious and systematic process. Furthermore, integration involves celebrating the wins, especially the effort and the process, not just the outcome. Did you successfully reframe a negative thought? Celebrate it. Did you take your smallest viable step when you felt like giving up? Acknowledge that victory. This reinforces the behaviors you want to cultivate. Over time, this 5-step process becomes second nature. You'll find yourself moving through the phases more quickly and automatically. The emotional sting of a setback will shorten, and your pivot to analysis and action will accelerate. You are, in effect, rewiring your brain to see challenges not as threats, but as opportunities for growth. This is the ultimate goal of the resilience reset. Not to avoid failure, but to become an expert at leveraging it. So there you have it. The resilience reset. A 5-step framework to transform how you handle any setback. We started with acknowledgement, facing reality and your emotions without judgment. Then we moved to analysis, becoming a detective to extract the core lesson. Next was reframing, taking control of your personal narrative. After that came action, regaining momentum with the smallest viable step. And finally, integration, turning this practice into a permanent skill. Remember, setbacks are not a sign of weakness. They are proof that you are pushing your boundaries. The next time you face a challenge, don't let it define you. Use this framework to reset, learn, and launch yourself forward with greater wisdom and strength. What's one setback you're going to apply this reset to? Let us know in the comments below. If you found this guide valuable, please hit that like button, subscribe to VF Growth Tutorials for more practical guides, and share this video with someone who needs to hear it today. Thanks for watching, and let's grow together.